Hi, today we'll talk about tracking client developers experience via tickets. My name is Andrii Melnychuk, and I set up a client's developers experience from scratch. I have more than 15 years experience in technical support, out of which more than 7 years in technical support of the APIs. I used to work in Ericsson, supported their mobile infrastructure, ensuring 5 nines availability for more than 2 billion end users around the globe. After I joined Think Tank, which was software as a service company, where I helped support clients, among which were KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, and all of the other big consultancies. And there I managed to reduce the manual efforts for our team by 70%. Later on, I joined Wise, where I was helping out with setting up technical support of Wise API, which is now called Wise Platform. And there I set the team and processes from scratch to follow the sun, meaning globally distributed team. And now I'm working in Upvest, setting up the developer's experience, making sure that our solution is integratable in the scale way. That's on my experiences. A few words about Upvest. We are providing investment API to our clients, basically helping out them to build the whole experiences that are connected to the investments by consuming one API. Another important fact about Upvest is that we are holding banking license. So we do have customers that are financial institutions and are also financially regulated. These customers we call bring your own license integration type, while we do also provide an opportunity for clients to integrate without a license, so on behalf of our license, and we call this model of integration as a take our license. Being financially regulated institution adds constraints in terms of compliance, and this pushed us to a few interesting solutions that will be presented today, and we actually open sourced those. So if you're also a regulated company, you can reuse the software we have to set up a slick developer experience. Okay, enough about me and Upvest. Let's move to the agenda. So first, we will have an intro during which I'll talk about context of clients' developers experience and its impact. Here you will learn why clients' developers experience is important and how to set a good one. Then you learn how to set up ticketing system that is scalable, lasts, and is loaded by both agent and customers. In third section, you learn how to segment your data to be able to build insightful retrospections on your API developers experience. Later, we'll sum up the key aspects of ticketing system setup. And finally, I'll share some artifacts that we've open sourced for you. So, developer experience consists of many aspects, such as documentation, including specifications, guides, tutorials, and product aspects descriptions. Artifacts such as SDKs, OpenAPI specs, Postman collections, etc. Tooling, for example, sandbox environment or any handy scripts that could ease testing. But first, before going into details of setting up a good client's developers experience, let's try to understand why developers' experience is important. So if we look into API clients' lifecycle phases, we'll see that before integration, like the presentation of your product happens, right? So at the moment of the integration happening, clients should have a clue about what integration is about. So basically, during this phase on engineering side of things, you should be ready to unblock clients as quick as possible, which is a responsibility, of course, of the developers experience team. And this will define the speed of integration of your clients. So the faster you respond, the more observability you have over the issues that clients are having to prevent those proactively, the faster your integrations will happen. During launch phase, it is a really short one, but really important phase when integration goes live. Here you should stay really high alerted, right? So dedicated monitoring, maybe even dedicated person for monitoring how things are going, checking out on the API calls, and not only on the status code of those calls, but also are there behavioral patterns of users present, right? Because some flows may be silently interrupted, right? And without obvious alertings, things could just be blocked, and absence of a traffic, for example, could be one of the alert triggers for you and your team to start looking in and checking what's going on there. The next phase is ramp up. Here, monitoring will be still crucial, but I wanted to highlight it as a separate phase because here you will be more migrating from active dedicated monitoring to kind of passive monitoring that will be based completely on the alerts. And in this case, you need to make sure that all of your alerts are fine-tuned, are having a good signal to noise ratio, and that your teams are not spending too much on actual like monitoring, but rather being alerted when the attention is needed, because this will be crucial in terms of your team capacity and team scalability, right? Because if you have a full dedication of your agents, of your engineers to the specific clients, then basically you need to scale your team in accordance to number of the clients, which is not the best way approach to move forward. And finally, maintenance. Here is if everything is set in the right way, developers' experience should help you to have a visibility over implementation patterns, how they perform, and to work out the best approaches. In this way, if you have enough observability of the client's performances, which includes also technical aspects of the implementation, then you can easily improve your client's experience, which significantly help to reduce number of churn and loyalty of your clients. So now, if to look from the API provider lifecycle perspective, then if from the beginning with the first client, or even before the first client live, right, your focus will be product fit, strategic product development, and maybe how much of skilled staff you have to actually fulfill all of the product needs, right? Then after first client goes live, you actually verify that market fit. You already know obvious pitfalls of your implementations, of implementation of the integration with your API, right? So after that, reliability and onboarding experience, which both are part of developers' experience, will be really crucial on your way to move from first client to first 10 clients. After launching a first dozen of clients, marketing strategy, uh, system and process scalability would play the crucial role on ramping from 10 to 100 clients live. And after, journey to market domination will depend on clients' loyalty and self-service, right? The aspects that I mentioned in the previous slide in maintenance, right? So here will be really crucial how you treat your clients and how quickly you can innovate and adopt to market changes. So yeah, and the lifespan of that phase would heavily depend on that. And from speaking from the experience, Ericsson basically lost market domination to Huawei at some point due to the fact that their processes were obsolete and they were not quick enough with delivery of new features. And eventually, the system with reliability of 5 nines lost to the quickly developing system, which was more agile, even though not that reliable. So yeah, that's why innovation and adaptability are really crucial in the face of market domination. So speaking of client developer experience, to sum it up, client developer experience has impact on integration speed, scalability of the integration, client's loyalty, and client's growth via fine-tuning. So how to build a good developer's experience? As nothing is built perfect from a first try, including developer's experience, thus you need to enable clients' developer's experience to speak and listen. Client developer's experience is crucial and consists of many aspects. It's still a CI/CD process, thus aggregation of feedback and learning from it is really crucial. Handling your documentation, handling your communication in a documented way will give you a possibility to build up visibility over progress and success of your processes on this path. So yeah. So how did I did it, right? As a person who decides on the future setup, one needed to understand who are stakeholders and gather the required inputs. In our case, we had stakeholders as 3 internal teams that were client facing. These were operations, compliance, and tech support, as well as external clients, right? Because we had to think on what would be their use of our system, right? So technically, you need to reach out to the stakeholders to help you in 2 main ways. You need to see the problems that they will be solving with your ticketing system, and you need to understand the functions that are crucial to them. Knowing these two will help you to choose the right tool to make sure you have a strong position to not migrate to any other tooling in foreseeing future. Moreover, it gets them involved into setup. This makes them more connected with the end result and affects adaptability pretty well. Some of these teams, speaking of internal ones, of course, might even help you to set everything up. And again, just to say, this is the way it was in Upvest, right? So the set of the teams here might vary in your particular case. So you gather the inputs from the stakeholders. In our case, there were 4 stakeholders. And then you end up with the list of the requirements. And it's really useful to not take a requirement per se. It's also really crucial to have a coefficients with which your requirements will impact the score. And as I said before, as we are holding banking license, there were a few crucial requirements without fulfilling which we didn't even consider the solution for further consideration. Also, we added 1 point per stakeholder to see which requirements are important for more than one team, while which requirements are important just for the some smaller group of the users and agents. So in the end, we had a scoring system with the coefficients per requirement. We assessed against it 19 different solutions. And after assessment, we shortlisted to 4. Those systems were with a score 20 plus. And these 4, we actually did a deep dive on the terms and conditions and data processing agreement to just see if there are any limitations from that perspective, and that actually helped us to reduce the shortlist to 2 only. And with those 2, we did the trials. In the end, we chose Zendesk, and these were the reasons why. First of all, Zendesk was fully compliant, which was the crucial part of it. Also, it fulfilled most of the requirement. So it was not the only that fulfilled the compliant requirements, but it was one of the most fulfilling the rest of the requirements, right? Also, we noticed that there are really low efforts on the configuration and ease of maintenance, as well as Zendesk allowed to build a joyful experience for the clients and end users through numerous integrations that are there already or that can be set up relatively easy. So we ended up setting it up. We ended up integrating with 6 different tools that we use here in Upvest. So we integrated it with Slack to allow clients filling tickets from their favorite messaging system. But not only, this integration with Slack is actually the most crucial one, because we implemented into that integration data collection guidelines. So basically, when user calls out this integration, there are a few questions that guide user to certain sets of the data points that they need to provide with their ticket, which significantly reduce time on response and basically troubleshooting the cases. The other tool is Doctave. It's our documentation platform. We have an integration with it there as well. It allows clients to file feedback straight from the docs. So basically, if they see any typos or they see any inconsistency or something that they were surprised to see, they could provide instant feedback straight from the documentation page, and it will land in our ticketing system. Thus, we're not missing a single bit of picture building out the landscape of the experience. Opsgenie. So this is more feature integration for agents, right? This integration helps us to call up on-call engineering team within a few clicks, which is really useful in case of we are experiencing time-critical issues, right? As well as Incident.io. This is a tool for that we use to manage incidents in our system. Again, this not only allows to track tickets that were related to incidents and also post about new tickets in incident channels. So people who are working on incidents could see that there are more and more tickets flowing in if incident is having higher impact. But also it actually helped us to build a flow which allowed our clients to file the incidents straight into our system, which is pretty neat and really suitable solution for us as we are B2B provider, right? The concern of false positive incidents is really minimal because we all play in the same team in favor of the client's customers, right? So yeah, Linear is our ticketing system, basically internal one. This integration allows us to file any actionables to tier 3 backlogs and the product board, because once we have any good ideas for product to be considered for future implementation and further prioritization of those, in a few clicks we could push our tickets into the product board so they could read it through, assess, and digest it into a timeline. So having all of this integration helped us to build pretty neat set of inflow options, such as clients can fill tickets into our Zendesk through Slack, Doctape, which is basically our ticketing system, our documentation, then email, which is the basic Zendesk function, right? Also support portal, which is a separate part what I would like to stop and say a few words about it. So the support portal, we made it based on the help center. So we chopped off all of the functionality of the help center because we didn't need it. And we left only a ticketing submission and status checks, right? And this helped us actually to fulfill one of the requirements from our financial regulator, which is that at any time, users should have access to their tickets and should be able to see the progress and its status. In this support portal, we also support custom ticket forms. So some of our clients have a separate dedicated ticket forms per even their teams, right? And all of these tweaks will be shared later as well with you. So if you want to set your support portal in the same way, you have a template ready from us. And lastly, the API. It's also a Zendesk feature, which is available out of the box, which requires some efforts from a client side. So honestly speaking, none of existing clients had used the benefit of it, but I see it as a really prospective way. So with a further integration, if our clients would like to embed into their back offices the emergency buttons that will raise incidents or tickets in our system, they are able to do so. And this is really cool from the strategic perspective. The cherry on top was SLAs and reporting. These are built-in functions in Zendesk, which we, to be honest, didn't consider during our assessment. But it appeared that we could easily build and share the dashboards with our clients, which will represent the SLAs on the ticketing handling, which was really cool, and the clients really loved this feature. So, combination of low feedback efforts on filing and low team efforts on resolving tickets, thanks to all the integration and fine-tuned setup, allows us to build a picture in a full scale. But how to segment the information so we could have a possibility to zoom into any useful aspects? So Zendesk allows segmentation on 2 levels, which is organizations and tickets. So we segmented organizations based on their life cycle phase, so we could have an overview of the issues that are related to the specific client life cycle phase. Also, integration type, as I mentioned earlier, right? We have different type of integrations with our clients, and based on this, you can also filter the tickets to see the problematic domains per integration type. Also, we have a point of contact custom field, which represents the person who is a point of contact for a client. And in this case, we not only reduce time of reaching out to those or finding out who is the contact person for this specific client, but also we introduce the possibility to segment the tickets or see which are the problems that clients are facing with this or that contact person. So we could do the assessment of the approaches of data sharing and line up some good practices. Because if we see that someone is successful with their clients, we could provide feedback that probably this person should do the knowledge sharing session to the team on the way the person does this information broadcast to the clients. Cool. And now let's look into tickets level segmentation. So there we have categories. Categories are per teams, right? So first of all, we do have segmentation by the queues or teams who are client facing. And then each team has own segmentation by the domain, which allows us to find out about the tickets of specific domain in specific aspects of the contacts, like, for example, operations related or tech related tickets. Also, we have a request type. This is not custom, but a native field of Zendesk, which helps us to understand the nature of the request, right? Whether it was a question, problem, or a task that team should perform, right? So basically something recurring. This is really neat to spot out any automations or scalability improvements, right? To see where the main drain of capacity of the team is dedicated to, right? And then environments, Sandbox and Live. These are two public-facing environments in our case. This allows us easier prioritization of the improvements, as well as improvement opportunity. So this is the field that every agent should fill before resolving a ticket, and it should define which part of the product should have been better to actually make this ticket not to happen in the first place, right? So it could be a product itself, right? So basically some inconvenience in the product, not clear documentation, clunky processes, or lack of tooling. This helps us to locate all possible opportunities for specific improvement areas, because there are different groups of people that are responsible for these improvement areas in general, right? So we could refine our feedback in a really focused way to those teams. So the conclusions. First of all, start early. The earlier you start, the fuller picture you'll have. And as earlier you start, then you'll have more visibility on the client's pain. So you could build and introduce new communication approaches over existing with the low efforts to the changes, right? Because if you'll do it later when you have hundreds of clients and you need to change something, you'll actually need to go to each client and say, like, sorry, we need to change this flow because it just doesn't work. And this will create a lot of frustration on client end and will drain your capacity more significantly. Stakeholders involvement. Basically reach out to all of the stakeholders to get a full picture of the requirements, right? This will help you to avoid later working on reworking and increase of the adoption. Low efforts mindset. This is really crucial. You need to think on how to make not only ticket submission low effort action. This will encourage your clients to provide you more feedback, but also how agents could put as much as possible of the useful data into the tickets with the lowest possible efforts. Set up with a strategic perspective, right? The good example from here could be APIs, like for ticket submission, or for example, this segmentation by point of contact, right? From the first point of view, it doesn't make much sense now, but later on, when we will be sitting on the big chunk of data, it will be really cool to segment by these two, or allow our clients to do the integrations via API directly into our ticketing system. And finally, this is end-to-end ticket thinking. You need to remember that the processes are as important as the ticketing system itself, if not more crucial, right? Because we are gathering tickets not just to gather them, we gather them to process and learn and reduce the learning curve with those. So good segmentation should be always in mind with that, along with the processes such as like quarterly reviews and other useful gatherings with your team, or even with some of the domains to review their performance. Cool. So in the end, it was not too costly. It took 3 man quarters without full dedication. Right, but what is really cool about this, that you could reproduce the same setup with way more efforts, because the hardest part was actually developing Slack to Zendesk integration, which would be compliant with the requirements, because native Zendesk integration to Slack requires too many accesses, which is concern from a security perspective. So yeah, in this way, we open sourced it, so you may download it, fine tune the data collection flow, and have your very own flow of getting tickets from Slack to Zendesk from your clients. Also, we unfortunately didn't put the help center, which we chunked into support portal, into the public repository yet. So if you need that one, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to have a chat and share it with you directly. All right, that's it. Thanks for your attention.